Hi, friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Hope you all are doing well. Welcome to this new video. This is going to be a new series wherein the theme would be communication. So, in my last video, I spoke about the subject what matters most to each of us. We all wanted to be loved, and the changes we need to bring in our behavior, in our attitude for same. In line with that theme, what is equally more important is that how you are going to be heard. We all want to be heard, and this becomes extremely important in the communication era, in this age wherein communication plays an extremely important role. Whether it is our professional life, whether it is our business, whether it is our personal life, we want to be effective in our communication. Now, this playlist for which this video is going to be the initiation, I will be talking about different aspects of communication. Effective communication, how to communicate effectively via different means, via different modes. And today's session is going to be in relation to that, getting heard. This is your passionate coach, mentor, and friend Amit Mahajan, and I'm going to touch upon one important aspect, as I said, getting heard during today's session. So, are you ready? Great, let's get going. So, most of you, many of you would have come across these scenarios in your life that people they do not respond to your emails, your messages, your text messages, your chats, pings, different means, different modes, whatever you may use to sort of communicate to them. People ignore your presence. There's nothing more humiliating than you being ignored. People take you for granted. That means, they don't listen to you. So, if you have come across these scenarios, I have something which is going to help you. I'm going to cover these aspects via three different sessions. The part one will be effective emails, chats, and instant messaging, which is the subject for today's video. The part two, which is going to cover a more generic theme, which is effective communication in general, and what are the different elements, what are the challenges. So I'm going to talk about that over a separate video. Part three will be another video wherein I'm going to extend effective communication, that so that how can you be more effective when you are dealing with people coming from different cultures, different geographies, different continents, different races, different sexual orientation. So I'll talk about that as part three. So coming back to part one, which is the topic for today, effective communication via emails, chat, instant messaging. So I ask you this question: do your emails, chat, conversations have these elements or signs that no matter whatever you do, your emails, your communication is not being responded timely? You need multiple follow-ups for soliciting response, reminders, and you end up in two long threads wherein you are sort of having to and fro communication without leading them to a closure. And it's taking an awful long time for you to communicate and arrive at certain conclusions or certain outcomes. And during those communications, during those emails, during those messaging, you have to do a lot of arguments, a lot of conflicts are there in your conversations. So if you are having any of these uh, things in your communication, any of these five signals in your communication, then we are going to dwell on how do we address these, how do we fix these. That's what I'm going to cover in today's session. Ready? Okay, here we are. So how you want to be heard effectively via emails, chat, instant messaging, and please be aware that These are generic elements. These are nothing which are specific to an instant messaging application or a chat or email. There are certain elements which are going to be applicable to certain particular mode of communication, like some of the stuff will be applicable to email, some of the stuff will be applicable to all of the three modes of communication, and so on and so forth. So we need to practice 10 things. The first and the foremost, when you are communicating, and if it is applicable, like for example, you are communicating via an email, you need to have very clear and concise subject line. This is the most overlooked aspect whenever we are communicating, whenever we are sending an email. We are not focusing on the tagline. It has to be depictive of what we want to communicate. And when we say tagline, the tagline has to be not more than 3 4 words. So you have to think over it, that what is it that I'm trying to communicate via this email. The tagline has to be reflective of that. Clear, concise subject line which is crisp, so that when somebody sees that in his or her inbox, then they know that what is the purpose of that communication. Then they are forced to sort of open that communication and then go through that communication and respond to that. That's the first and the foremost thing to be taken care of. Then when you are writing a communication, start politely, start with salutation, dear, so on and so forth, like that. Be very particular about that. I mean, we want to sort of give a feel good factor to the person to whom we are communicating. So start with good salutations, and always be respectful and polite in your professional tone. So I have experienced certain cases wherein, I mean, certain email communication, certain messages, they are pretty nasty. Wherein, I mean, when you are writing those email communications, probably you are not in the right emotions. Then you are probably sad, depressed, or maybe on a high, and then you lose your tone, the manner in which you want to communicate. And please be mindful that many a time these communications, these emails, these messages, since they are in black and white, they may end up somewhere in your organizational letter or somewhere in your professional lives also. Because I mean, they are always there as a proof, as a history. So, whatever you write, whenever you write, be mindful that these are these are your footprints or imprints which are going to stay forever. When I was pretty new in the industry, bubbling with enthusiasm, many a times I used to write emails wherein, I mean, if I had seen something wrong, I'll probably try to pay back in the same manner. I would write some harsh words, and later on, after pressing the send button of the email, I would realize that probably I have done something which was not right, which was not correct, which may probably harm me at a later point of time. And I have learned that the hard way. So please be mindful of your tone in which you are writing your communication, you are writing your email, you are writing your messages, and where they end up to be used uh, later on as to judge you how you are doing what you are doing. We don't want to give anyone a chance to sort of reflect upon those communications. So be respectful, be polite, be gentle, always. And whenever you are writing your content, whenever you are communicating, ensure that you are writing it in an organized manner. Think over it, that okay, what is it that I want to communicate? What is it that I'm writing it for? Whether it is verbal, whether it is written, I'll dwell more on that in effective communication, but you have to organize that. You should not be writing stories when you are communicating. It has to be clear and concise. So that is only possible when you think over it, when you organize your context. At times you need to give context to the people to whom you are communicating, but then you have to understand who needs context. Probably your superiors in your organization ladder or learner people, they may not need context. You want to be very crisp and straightforward when you are communicating with them. So you have to organize your content in that manner based upon the target audience, and it has to be grammar checked. Many a times this punctuation sign will distort the intent of your statement, and that may be taken up in a different manner. And if that happens, that means it's ineffective. So there will be question, there will be clarification will be required during the course of that conversation, uh, which would lead to time delay, which would lead to and fro communication, which is not good for effective communication. So you have to check the grammar, you have to organize the content, and be very specific. What is the communication for? Why are you writing an email? Why are you sending an email or a message? Why are you sending a chat? What is it that you want from that communication? So you have to be specific, and you have to avoid ambiguity. If you are writing something and you are rereading it before sending it, I'm sure you are going to improve upon what you have already written, and think over it like, okay, I mean, what I'm writing, does that make sense? Will the other person be able to understand and interpret that in clear and unambiguous way? That's how you will be able to improve upon your communication, by being specific and avoiding anything which is of ambiguous nature. What else? And in case if you are attaching something, you have to mention that, okay, I mean, this is something which is in addition to what I'm providing, what I'm writing. You go and refer to that so that you get that context. So please be clear that if you are attaching something, you do make a mention of that. And you should know your target audience. Who are the people who are going to be recipients and responders? In which time zone do they operate? Because I mean, it is always good to send them a communication when they are active in that time zone. And when we say recipients and responders, who are the people who are going to be, if you're sending an email, who are the people who are going to be in the to list? Who are the people who need to be in the copy? And again, many a times when you send a corporate communication or in your organization, we tend to sort of add so many people in the CC list, in the to list, and when there are too many people in the to list, nobody bothers to respond to that communication. So you have to ensure that the to list only contains people who need to respond, and maybe you can mark them within your email body that, okay, at the rate this person needs to provide this information, at the rate this person provides needs to provide that information. So you have to be very clear and crisp in over there, and reduce the number of people that are there in your communication. You have to ensure that you're not spamming people, so that you stay relevant, so that people understand that, okay, what is it that is expected from them. In case if you want to copy certain people and you want to just share them the outcome of the email thread, then you can probably FII them later on once you have arrived at a consensus at that, okay, this is what is the outcome of this discussion, and then you copy them or forward them. So know your recipients, know your responders, avoid spamming people so that you stay relevant. And many a times we are just sending emails, reminders, because people are not responding, because you are not communicating in effective manner. So you can, in your app that you're using, there are certain, like for example in Outlook there is a flag for follow-up. So you can set custom reminders for yourself. In case you want to do follow-up, you can set custom reminders for the people who are marked in the copy or in the to list, that, okay, I mean, I want that guy to respond in 2 days, and then the reminder should pop up at a particular point of time after 2 days, so that you don't have to send a physical reminder, or a reminder email, so that they have to respond. So a pop-up will come up in their application, and then they can respond. So follow-up flag becomes important. And again, the sensitivity, the importance of the emails are other means wherein you can set those flags so that people know that, okay, that carries that level of relevance, significance, or urgency, so that they respond in that particular manner. Privacy and security is again one of the important things. So you can mark those flags within your applications, and in case if there is privacy involved, if in case if there is security involved, you can probably, I mean, uh, you can mention that this is secure or this is private in the subject line also. And again, in certain cases, because of certain regulatory norms, you have those emails wherein you have to follow the organizational guidelines to indicate that these are private and secure communications, so that the backend application within the organization will take care of that, maybe probably encode that and decode that to the recipient, and deliver that in a secure manner. So you have to be mindful of that. And last but not the least, it is always good to close a communication in a professional manner, in a pleasing manner, wherein you do a proper sign off with warm regards, respectfully, so on and so forth, yours faithfully. And you should always have your signature. If there are corporate guidelines that, okay, this is a confidential communication, things like that, you should have them as part of your signature. So if you incorporate these 10 elements and practice this, you will save yourself from a lot of pain by having to constantly send reminders, chase people that you are not being responded. And when you are organizing your content, if I go back to the previous slide, and when you are organizing your content, uh, there is the structure of the content, the context. This is one of the most important things. Try to keep it as simple as possible. Don't use any jargons in your content so that you are relaying the message in an effective manner. So try practicing these 10 elements, and again, these are low hanging fruits. So by incorporating these elements within your communication, you are definitely going to have a great impact in the way and the manner you are going to share information across. Okay, so what next in the series? As I said, I mean, there are going to be three parts. The second part is going to be effective communication. I'm going to dwell on that in the next video. And the third part will be cross-cultural communication, wherein I'll dwell on that, okay, how cultures play a great role in effective communication, whether it is within the country wherein you are, let's say, I mean, you are conversing with people from uh, North region, you are conversing with people in the South region or in the West region or across the countries, across continents, across geographies. So I'll dwell on that, and you will be pleasantly surprised that how cultures are going to have great impact in the way we communicate effectively. So stay tuned for that as I sort of share that content in coming days. If you like today's session and want to learn and interact on an array of similar topics, feel free to connect with me via any of the below means. You connect with me on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. I'm available at all those different social medias, and whatever you are more convenient with, do connect with me. And if you like today's video and you want to know more about similar content, do subscribe to my YouTube channel, and always ensure that you click the ring icon to be notified of any new content so that you don't miss out on any of that. It will provide me immense satisfaction if I'm able to contribute to any positive outcomes in your life. Do share your thoughts around this video. I'll leave you today to ponder over how you are going to ingest and implement the things discussed in this video. With this, I'm signing off today. Stay tuned for part 2 and part 3. Be your best always. All the best.